Hey, guess what's happening on this week's episode of the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with your friend and host, Oscar Camejo.
Hey, let me ask you a quick question that might explain why your blood sugar numbers are staying high all the time. Have you ever cleaned up your eating? I'm talking about cutting back on the sweets, the junk food, and eating late at night, those late night snacks, and still looked at your A1C and your blood sugar numbers were off the charts. And you're like, man, something must be wrong. If that's you, you are not alone. Definitely not alone. One of the biggest struggles I hear all the time is people saying, Oscar, my doctor told me to stop being sedentary, but nobody explained what that actually means. And most people hear that and they think, okay, so you want me to go to the gym and live in the gym and become a gym rat? Nah, folks, that's not what I'm saying. Today, I'm going to break this down from ground zero. What being sedentary really means, why it affects your blood sugar numbers, and the simplest way you can start changing it without overwhelming yourself. I know it can be frustrating, but we're going to get over that hurdle. And this is why I want you to stay locked into this episode all the way to the end. You can work out sometimes. You can work out all the time and still have a sedentary lifestyle. That may be the missing piece in what's going on with you. So if you've been doing your part with food, but your body still feels stuck, this episode is for you. So stick around to hear the rest of today's episode. You don't want to miss it. Let's go. Be sure to visit the website at www.beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com for access to free resources and other information that will help you along your journey. If you would like to submit a question or a comment about the show or to learn more about the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle, you can always email me at hello@beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Welcome back to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with me, your host, Oscar Camejo, helping diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes. If you're new here, welcome. I really appreciate you for tuning in. If you're tuning in from around the world or wherever you are on the planet, please drop a comment. Rate the show. Let me know how you enjoy the show. This podcast is all about keeping things real, keeping things relatable. I'm one of those guys who went through some things, turned my life around, and did not allow type 2 diabetes to beat me. I decided to beat type 2 diabetes. So I want to give you practical advice to help you to overcome and be the winner that you are. This episode is episode number 5 in our lifestyle behavior series. In the last episode, we talked about late night eating, that after hours eating that kind of sneaks up on you. So today we're talking all about what usually sits right next to it. And that's living the sedentary lifestyle. And in the next episode, we're going to talk about strength training. We're going to get all into it because building muscle changes the game when it comes to blood sugar. So we're going to keep it all balanced. So I want to share something with you real quick. So I checked my blood sugar numbers this morning, and I remember when I used to check my blood sugar numbers when I was overweight, still struggling with type 2 diabetes and so forth. My numbers were like in the hundreds. And then over time, it started going down, but I remember still being in 160, 180 and stuff like that. So this morning I checked my blood sugar, and guess what? My number this morning was 93 milligrams per deciliter. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I remember waking up mornings and dreading checking my numbers because my fasting blood sugar, like I said, in the mornings back then was so high. I used to worry so much about my numbers. It was frustrating. And I know you may be like, pricking yourself all the time. And you're like, man, why are my numbers so high? I get it. I've been where you are. And I realized that, you know what? I know my numbers may not be where they are or they need to be right now, but I can change that. And it took me really learning more about my body, what foods impacted how my numbers would turn out. What about my sleep? But also, how was I moving? That's why I want to give you practical information so you can understand that, we're all in this together. Now, here's a quick note. I am not a doctor. I am not your doctor. I'm here simply to help you understand what's happening and give you some practical steps that you can use today. So let's talk about the real struggle. Most people listening to me right now aren't lazy. You may be tired. You've got work. You have responsibilities. I get it. And you're simply trying. You're trying your best to make this work. But you keep hearing the same message. And that message almost becomes like a resounding bell in your head of frustration. Move more. Be less sedentary. While that may be true, while that is good and sound advice, it's a challenge. Nobody explains it in a way that feels real. It just seems like there's these lofty goals that you have to achieve. So here's what it looks like in real life. You wake up early, already thinking about what you have to do. You sit in traffic or you sit at a desk all day. You sit through meetings. Remember, sedentary lifestyle. You sit at lunch. And what about when you get home? Your body is like, please don't ask me to do anything else. So you sit on the couch. And because you're relaxing, you're chillaxing, your brain just starts looking for comfort. And that's where cravings start to show up. That's where the late night eating starts to creep in. You know, you're watching your favorite television show, and before you know it, it's midnight and you've been snacking and you've been sitting down for a long time. So if you've been doing your part when it comes to food, but your body still feels stuck, this episode is for you. So being sedentary means you spend a lot of time sitting or lying down with very little movement. It's being inactive. It's sitting still and being still for a very long time. It's being stationary. And sometimes we do it unconsciously. We're not even thinking about it. How about when you're going to the bathroom and you're handling your business? How long are you sitting there on your phone? Okay, no judgment here. And here's the part that surprises a lot of people. You can exercise and still be sedentary. Yeah, you can do a 30-minute workout, but then sit for the next 10 hours. Because the problem isn't only do you work out or how often are you working out or working out enough. The bigger question is how much of your day is spent not moving. So let me give you some everyday examples. You may have a desk job that requires you to sit all day. You're commuting and you're sitting for a long time. You're in meetings sitting for a long time. When you're at lunch, you're sitting for a long time, for 30 minutes or an hour or whatever. More sitting and more sitting. Then there's the couch at night, like I mentioned before. Or if you're working from home, sitting. You go from the bed to the chair to the chair to the couch. That's a sedentary day. And it's easy to sneak up on you because it's like, it doesn't feel bad. It feels normal because that's your routine. So what I want you to do is break out of the sit all day habit because it's not helping you at all. And you may be thinking, okay, Oscar, what does this have to do with type 2 diabetes? What does me being at my desk all day or for 8 hours a day have to do with type 2 diabetes? Let's talk about why this matters, especially when it comes to blood sugar. Now, let me explain insulin resistance with a picture so you can remember. Not being technical, I just want to be practical. Now, picture your muscle cells like a house, right? And your bloodstream is a street outside your house. So glucose is like a delivery truck bringing energy to your house. Insulin is like the key that's supposed to open the door to the house and let that energy in so it can be used. But when we're talking about insulin resistance and being insulin resistant, it's like the door is stuck and that glucose that you need for energy can't get in the house. So the key keeps showing up, but the lock is jammed. So glucose is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. But when it stays outside there on the street in your bloodstream, it's being backed up like there's a traffic jam and your body keeps sending more insulin like, hey, I'm trying to get in. I'm trying to get this glucose in, and it's trying again. And now you have a whole bunch of insulin, more glucose, and still that door isn't opening like it should. Our bodies can use glucose for energy. Now, here's the part that really matters. Movement is like oil on that rusty lock or that lock that's stuck. Even light movement tells your muscles open up and use this fuel because we need it. Our body needs it. So instead of glucose circling around in your bloodstream, it finally has somewhere to go. That's where the movement comes in. But when you're sitting all day, when you're sitting a lot, there's not that much movement and your muscles aren't using the glucose because why? Is you're just being sedentary. That's why being sedentary isn't just about rest or just resting. For a lot of people, it's like leaving the door locked all day, every day, and then wondering why the street is backed up. And if you've been eating better, which I hope you are, but your numbers still feel stubborn and they're going in the wrong direction, this may be the part that's missing for you. Now let's bring this back to the overall theme of this series about lifestyle behaviors and habits. Now the goal is balance, not just how you eat, but how you move. And I want you to start thinking in terms of two things. Number one, frequency, and number two, quality. So again, frequency and quality. How often you eat and what you eat, how often you move and how you move. Frequency and quality. You know, a lot of people only focus on food. If you're sitting most of the day, your body may not be using what you eat as efficiently as it could. So yes, food does matter. We never want to forget about food. But movement helps your body do something with that food. That's fuel for your body. But here's the good news. You don't have to become an athlete to start seeing progress. I'm not an athlete, even though I, aspire to be more athletic. We all can move more and move better. Frequency and quality. So listen, all of this is doable. And here's a blueprint that I want you to remember. It'll help you to make sure that it lands and it sticks. It's real simple. Sit less, move more, build muscle. Sit less, move more, build muscle. Keep that framework. Okay? Step one, sit less. This is where we start. Start by breaking up your sitting. For example, every 30 to 60 minutes, stand up and move for a couple of minutes. It doesn't have to be a workout per se. It's just movement. So if you're working for 8 hours, try not to just be sitting there for 8 hours. Every 30 to 60 minutes, get up and move. Even if you walk to the water fountain and come back, move a little bit more, move a lot more. Now, here's some simple options. You can stand and stretch. You can stand up, march in place. You can walk to the kitchen and back. You can walk during phone calls, refill your water bottle, walk back, take a walk on the stairs at least once. This is how you interrupt that stagnant, sluggish pattern of just being sedentary. Okay, number two, step two, move more. That's the easiest win. If you want one habit that gives you a big return, here it is. Take a 10 to 15 minute walk after one meal each day, especially after dinner, because dinner sometimes tends to be like our biggest meal or even lunch. You know, if you start walking 10 to 15 minutes after a big meal, that's going to be a big win. You don't have to do it fast. You don't have to do it perfect. You just need to do it consistently. Now, here's step number three. Build muscle. This is exactly why the next episode matters. Strength training improves how your body handles glucose long term. You don't have to lift heavy, folks. I'm not wanting you to become a bodybuilder and become this muscle-bound Arnold Schwarzenegger type person. You have to be consistent, though. In the next episode, I'm going to be breaking down strength training from the ground up. You know, it's going to be beginner friendly and it's going to be real. Now, here's a plan. Every day, take a 10-minute walk after one meal. Every day, do 2 movement breaks, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And this week, focus on 2 sessions of strength training from 10 to 15 minutes. That's it. That's doable for 7 days. Now, listen, if you're thinking, Oscar, that still sounds like a lot. I know I get it, but if you really pay attention, it's easy. All you have to do is start, but start small. If you have to start with 1 movement break per day, that's fine. If you can't do 2, I understand. Start with something. The important thing is consistency, because consistency beats intensity. And the goal is progress, folks, is not pressure. So don't feel like there has to be a lot of pressure. Don't take on a lot of pressure. Keep it real simple. So let's wrap it up. When it comes to the sedentary lifestyle, it's not just, oh, you're not working out enough. That's not what it's about. It's those long stretches of time of being inactive, being still, being stationary. being low movement and being stuck in that low movement pattern that quietly affects your blood sugar. It matters because movement helps to open that door. Remember I was talking about earlier? So that the glucose, the stuff that you need for energy, can get where it needs to go. Your goal is balance, folks. It's frequency and quality. That's in terms of how you eat and how you move. Again, frequency and quality. Last episode was about late night eating. Today was about the sedentary lifestyle. And the next episode, again, is going to be about strength training. And I'm going to keep it real practical. And like I said, it's going to be beginner friendly. So don't worry. But I need you to tune in to next episode. And if you hadn't watched the previous episode on late night eating, check that out too. Now, if this episode today helped you in any way, as always, I want you to consider sharing it with someone who needs to hear this. They need to hear the message about moving more. It's not about being perfect. It's about starting somewhere and being consistent. Now, let's close this thing out real strong. As always, stay focused, keep moving, never go back, leap forward, bounce back because you can, my friend. And above all else, trust God. You got this. I believe in you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Beating Diabetes Lifestyle Podcast with Oscar Camejo. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As a reminder, this podcast is intended for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional care by a physician or other healthcare professional or qualified fitness instructor. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you're looking for help on your journey, seek a qualified medical practitioner. It's important that you utilize someone who is a trained, licensed healthcare professional who can help you on your journey toward good health.